Hi, my name's Glenda. I'm originally from New Zealand. Been in Australia for a few years now, about 30 or more. I have grown-up children and I have 4 wonderful grandchildren. And my husband and I are involved in the church with music ministry. It's something that we love to do. It's something we've been doing for a long time. In fact, when I first got saved, when I first came to know about God, I was in my 30s. So I'd come from a background of music and stage and performance, and to be able to take what was already a passion in my life and then give that back to God as an act of service and to still be me was probably one of the most profound things about getting to know God, is that you don't suddenly, you're one person one day and you don't become another person the next day. You become brand new, but the passions and the desires and the skills that you have in your life, they've been put there by God in the first place. And for us to be able to use those skills and that passion for His glory has led us on the most incredible adventures over the last 22 years now. Where we walked away from doing our music in the secular arena and started to give ourselves in the area of worship at church. And in the early days, it was interesting because we walked away from one lifestyle and into a new one. But there was so much satisfaction that came from that we never got from before. Well, it was just extraordinary. That over the years, God's built inside us such a desire to give away what we have, and so our greatest driving force in everything we do has been to train up others, to equip others, to take what God's given us, which gives us so much joy and such an amazing thing. To be able to give that and share that with others has been just awesome, and that has actually sort of dictated our journey over the past 20 years, so much so that as of this day, today, at this precise moment, we are homeless. Sounds good, doesn't it? We actually have no fixed address and have no employ. And you think, well, that's a bit tragic. Isn't God the God of blessings? But it's not as tragic as it sounds. Jason, my husband, and I are both itinerant musicians, pastors, and our lifestyle is traveling and training and equipping others. And in 2008, we had a one-way ticket to Malaysia to play at an international conference. Prior to this, we had a real unction on the inside that we were to carry on from there and go to Europe and to minister. But we had no bookings and no plans. We just had a conference in Malaysia that we were to do. 9 months later, we came back to Australia after going from Malaysia to Thailand, to Cambodia, back to Thailand, over to England, all through the UK, Scotland, France, Germany, Bulgaria. Just one place after the other, each place that we ministered, paying forward to the next place. We don't put any price on anything we do. Freely given is freely given away. And so we would go and we'd minister or train or spend some time in a particular church. They would then take up a love offering, and that would get us to the next place. And that paid us forward all the way back round to Malaysia at the end of 2008. And then we got a phone call from Australia saying we're doing a pastors and conference and a youth conference in Mindanao in the southern Philippines. Would we come? And we said, well, we're in Malaysia. They said, well, we'll fly you from there to the Philippines, and from there we'll fly you back to Australia. So 9 months after leaving Australia on a one-way ticket, we went all the way around. We ministered in 32 different countries backwards and forwards over those 9 months. At the end of that time, God said to us to take a break. And so we took a little bit of time out to just recover. In that period of time, the bushfires happened in Victoria. And we were looking for direction to where to go next, what we were to be doing, and we got a phone call asking us if we'd come down and get involved and help maybe do some music down there. So we went down to Victoria, to Melbourne for 2 weeks, and 2 years later we finished that 2-week stint as as God got us. We got involved with the bushfire recovery. First of all on a volunteer basis, and then last year I was asked to project manage a youth and music recovery project with the Salvation Army, with funding from the Sony Foundation. And so we spent 15 months working with over 400 young people as we taught them songwriting. We set up music workshops to help them to articulate some of the stuff that was going on, some of the emotional challenges. So God used our music, He used our ability to work and a desire to work with others to help in this bushfire recovery. And so we've had the most extraordinary time down there in Melbourne. Again, we arrived down there just with our car and our suitcase. 2 years later, we had to hire a truck to bring everything back because God provided everything. And I mean everything. When He calls you, when He encourages you, when He asks you to step out for Him, He never leaves you out there on your own. He goes before you. He goes behind you. And everything that you need, He supplies, right down to the toothbrushes and the tissues. We had food supplied, we had accommodation supplied, we had clothing supplied. So remembering we've just come back from Thailand and the Philippines, we don't have winter clothing because we don't live in Melbourne. But we were provided with shoes and coats and scarves and hats and bedding, and you just name it, it was there, right down to the tiniest little things. There is no way that you can serve God and not be on the adventure of your life. The journey from here to eternity is just extraordinary if you do it His way. And that doesn't mean that there's not trials, and that doesn't mean that you don't go without and that things aren't difficult. It is difficult being away from your family. It's difficult being away from my grandkids who are really special to me. I'm not living next door to them. But it does mean that when we get together, our times together are just absolutely precious and extraordinary. And I don't know how to greatly how words can't describe, honestly, the greatness of God. When He says that He will supply all your needs, it means He will supply all your needs. But God, being who God is, He likes to supply a little bit extra as well. So we've been doing this journey with God now for 22, 23 years, and it still feels like the beginning. We still feel like beginners. The more we know, the less we know. And I do not anticipate that this journey will ever end until the day we stand before Him face to face. And so I encourage you, step out. Don't be afraid. He goes before you. He is with you the whole way. Let your faith grow step by step. He doesn't ask you to do things that you can't do. He never will. God will only ask of you what He knows that you are capable of giving at this time. When we gave our lives to Christ, it wasn't just an altar call. It wasn't just a little prayer. It was a complete transformation. And that would be the greatest desire of my heart, is any time that we're ministering, whether it's in song, whether we're preaching the gospel, or just talking to someone over a cup of tea and introduce them to Christ, that their life is transformed. It's not just an event. It becomes their lifestyle.